Good morning. Welcome to Hatha Yoga with the Rain of Blessings. My name is Felicia. Today we will be taking as our peak pose pigeon. So we'll be doing some hip openers. And I'd like to start on our backs today. So if you sit in the middle of your mat and catch behind your thighs with your feet hip distance apart, and extend through the crown of the head, sort of finding the natural curves of the spine, pulling in the lower abdomen a little bit and the lower back, and then slowly round down all the way to the mat. And then bring the feet just a little bit in and place the bottoms of your feet together and allow the knees to drop out. And we're taking reclined cobbler's pose. And so you can just place your hands on your lower belly and close the eyes and just observe the breath for a moment. Take a few natural breaths here. And then take a three-part breath. So this is breathing starting in the lower belly and then come into the rib cage area, expanding in all directions, and then keep inhaling up into the collarbones and the shoulder area. And at the top of the breath, pause just for a moment and then release from the top through the middle and the bottom. So take another couple of three-part breaths on your own. And then allow the breath to return to its normal place, and then bring the knees up toward the ceiling, and we'll just draw the right knee to chest and interlace the fingers either around the shin or the thigh, and extend the left leg long, flexing both feet, and draw the right knee in toward the chest, in toward perhaps outer outside the chest toward the armpit, and then draw it in toward the center again. And really feeling that stretch. The left knee might have a slight bend in it. And then we'll release that leg and take that on the other side. So interlace the fingers in the opposite way and stretch the right leg long. Draw the left knee to the armpit and then bring it back in again toward the center. Flex both feet. Maybe you can strengthen the right leg a little bit more. Maybe straighten it a little more. Breathing into the groin area. And then return both feet to the floor. And we'll take a couple of bridge lifts here. So with the arms next to your body and then pressing the feet into the floor, roll the spine up and lift the hips. At the same time, lift the arms up and overhead. And as they come to the floor, maybe pressing with the feet and lifting the hips a little higher. And then rolling down, lowering the arms at the same time next to your body. And inhale, lift the hips, lift the arms way up overhead. And exhale, lower the hips. and the arms. Inhale, lift up, arms overhead. Press up a little bit more and lower the hips down. If you have a strap handy, you can take the strap in both hands and taking the strap around the ball mount of the right leg, right foot, and stretch it long, and maybe stretch the left leg out, flexing both feet. You can press the right foot into the strap and draw it nearer. If you don't have a strap, just interlace your fingers behind the thigh, just above the knee, and draw it in. Keeping the legs straight though, whichever way you're doing this. And breathing into the back of the leg. And then taking both sides of the strap in your right hand, stretch the left arm out to the side and open the hip, allowing the right leg to open, keeping the left hip on the floor. The left leg is strong and engaged so that the hip stays on the floor. And again, now breathing into the inside of the right leg, but maybe releasing a little bit of the muscle tension in the right leg so that it allows this opening. And just breathe. Then drawing the right leg up, catch both straps with the left hand, cross just over the midline until you feel that stretch in the outside of the leg. Keep drawing the right leg in toward the chest. And breathe. And releasing the strap, cross the right, draw the left knee up, draw the foot in, and then cross the right ankle over the left knee. And just take a gentle hip opener here. If this feels like you're getting a good stretch in your right hip, you can press the right leg open with the left foot on the floor, or you can interlace under the thigh and press the right leg open with your right elbow, flexing both feet, and maybe even gently interlacing under the knee on the shin and drawing the hips even further in. Keep the tailbone on the floor, the lower back on the floor, really, so we're not curling up. And really keep the shoulders down and away from the ears. Just breathe, breathing into the hip area. And releasing the left foot, and we'll take all that on the other side with the strap. So take the strap under the left ball mount of the foot and stretch the right leg long and strong. Left leg is strong as we draw it in gently toward the chest. Not really engaging the left leg as much as the right. The right leg is very engaged. But a little bit of softness in the left leg allows that opening and feeling the stretch into the back of the left leg, even as we're keeping the knee straight. And just allow this gentle opening. And then taking both sides of the strap in the left hand and stretching the right arm out to the right and open the left hip. Keep drawing it in slightly as you allow this opening. And again, keep the right leg strong so that the hip stays on the floor. You can prop up the leg with the left arm. Just release the strap to do that. But the idea is to just allow this opening stretching the inside of the left leg, and then drawing the left leg up. Take both sides of the strap in the right hand and just cross it over the midline. Both legs are strong. Draw it in toward the chest at the same time as you cross the midline. We're not lifting the left hip up off the floor though. Just, I also have my left arm stretched out next to me in a T. Breathing, drawing the leg in, and release the left leg. Bend the right knee and place the foot on the floor, and then cross the left ankle over the right knee. And whatever cradle pose you took on the other side, several levels to this, you can just draw the legs in and press the left thigh open a little bit. Very gentle, just warming up on this cold, cold morning. Breathing deeply into the hip. Keeping the lower back on the floor. And then straightening both legs up in the air and taking the arms out in a T. We'll just flex and point the feet and even flex and curl the toes in as you do this. So my toes are curling in as I point and then spreading as I flex. And then take a rotation with the ankles 3 or 4 times, and then circle in the opposite direction. And now we'll just cross the ankles and roll on the spine. You can catch behind the thighs. Roll a few times and you can change the cross of your ankles and then roll up all the way to seated pose. And find your blanket. You sit on the edge of your blanket or a block or 2 blocks, whatever suits you. And really find the natural curves of the spine, maybe wiggle, find some organic movement, and rise up through the crown of the head. And then we'll take the arms out to the side and palms touch overhead and side bend to the left, reaching through the right arm, gazing up at the right arm. And twist to the right. Catch the right knee with the left hand, right arm behind, and extend through the crown of the head and turn. And breathe. Cross the left arm over to the right arm over to the left knee and round the spine back, bringing the chin to the chest. You can lift the knees up a little bit and then breaking it open. Lift the heart. Lift the gaze. Extend through all the fingers. Spread the fingers as wide as you can. Everything opened up. And return to center. And switch the cross of your legs, whatever you were doing on the other side. Take the arms up and overhead. Palms touch. Side bend to the right. Reach through the left arm. Gazing up at the left arm. And reaching heavy the left sits bone. I think I said right arm, but I meant left. Trying to mirror here. Wiggle your fingers a little bit and stretch. And then bringing the left arm behind and crossing the right arm over to the left knee. Extend through the crown and twist. Keep the right shoulder down and away. from your ear, and take the eyes as far back in the twist as possible. And breathe. And then cross the left arm over to the right knee, round the spine back, and open it up, lifting the heart, lifting the gaze. Spread the fingers wide as possible. Open the palms, open the hands way open, and relax. And then we'll come to all fours. Knees under the hips, hands under the shoulders. Inhale into cow. Long exhale, cat. Inhale slowly into cow. Exhale just as slowly into cat. Really pressing the spine up toward the ceiling. And inhale to neutral. Tuck the left toes and press through the arms, stretching the back of the leg again. And then lift that left leg to hip height and lift the right arm, stretching from fingertips to toe tips, and then bending the left knee, catch the ankle with the right hand, and pressing the leg, pressing the foot into the hand, and arching the spine, lifting the gaze, breathing here. And we'll stretch it out long again and bring the hands down, and then step the left foot next to the outside of the left arm. Tuck the right toes and extend the leg. We're coming into lizard lunge, and lower the right knee to the floor, and then sink the hips down and walk the hands forward. If this isn't accessible to you, if the floor's not quite there yet, you can always have your hands on the blocks, but keep sinking the hips down. And breathe, really stretching the left hip opening. Keep the left knee next to the left shoulder, shoulders away from the ears. And then we'll tuck the toes of the right foot and step forward into a very wide squat position. So if you need, for a squat, if you need your block, you can set that behind you and come down and then sit on the block or not, and then press the knees open. I'm going to turn to face the screen. You can see the legs are very wide, and we're in a squat position. Soft gaze directly ahead of you, palms pressed together. Reach up through the crown of the head and draw the lower back in. Trying to lengthen the spine here. And then just placing the hands on the floor in front of you. Rise, lift the hips, and we'll come into a forward fold. Hands to the shins, lift the spine so that it's parallel with the floor in a half lift, and then slide the hands down, bending the knees as deeply as necessary so that the stomach and the thighs are close together, pressed together. And then take the backs of the legs wherever they land. It can be on the calves, ankles, maybe even the heels. You can even slide your fingers under the heels. And then release the neck and the head completely and see if you can begin to straighten the legs. Breathing into the hip area. This is also a hip opener. And then release your hands and walk the right foot out to the edge of the mat. Place the hands inside and we'll step the left foot leg back, and we're coming into lizard lunge again on the other side. Lower the left knee to the floor, and whatever arm position you took on the first side, keep the right shoulder and the right knee close together and sink the hips down. Keep breathing. And then walking the hands back in, we'll take that right foot back to tabletop on all fours and just a centering cow, exhale, cat. And then we'll stretch the right leg long and press back with using the strength of the arms, reaching through that right leg. And then lift the right leg to hip height, point the toes even, and stretch the left arm long. And reach from fingertips to toe tips, looking straight down at the mat. Bend the right knee and catch the ankle with the left hand and lift, pressing up out of the right shoulder, arching the back, pressing the foot into the hand, even as the hand is pulling on the foot is pressing too, and breathing here. And release it long again and return the hand and the knee to the floor. Widen the knees as wide as the mat and sit back into child's pose, stretching the arms overhead, or you can stack the hands and place the forehead on the backs of the hands. Um, if child's pose isn't as accessible. I've even been in a place where I stacked both fists to get it up a little bit higher, or you can use a block, whatever works for you. If your knees are wonky, you can always place a blanket under the knee. Um, Even just a sock can be useful under the knees. That opens up the knees and maybe alleviates a little bit of the pressure inside the knee. And coming back up, bring the knees back under the hips, tuck the toes, and come into down dog. Stretching, reaching the hips high, settling into our down dog. And then stepping the left foot closer to the right and lift the right leg high in the air and draw the knee in to the chest and step it through. And we'll lower the left knee either to the floor, or I encourage you to use a blanket under the left knee for this twist. And take the left arm high in the air and the right hand to the right hip, and then twist first and then slice across, and palms come together. So we're making a square with our legs, and the palms are coming close to the heart center. And then turn the head and gaze up over the right shoulder. Breathe. Some people like to tuck the left toes for stability. I prefer to extend my foot, personal preference. And then we'll release the hands down and tuck the left toes and turn them out with the feet wide on separate tracks, bending the right knee, coming up into Warrior One. Lift the arms in the air, lift the gaze. Take a little bit of a back bend here, squaring the hips forward and sinking down into the right hip. Really wrap the muscles of the left leg around the bone. Strengthen it. Strengthen the arms, but keep the hands soft. And windmill the arms down and back, and then spring off the left leg and come to mountain pose at the top of your mat. So then we'll step the right leg back and come into Warrior One on the other side. And lift the arms in the air and strengthen them. Bend the left knee more deeply, square the hips down. Really find the stability of your lower body and strengthen the arms. And lift the gaze as high as you can. And then straightening the left leg, wing the arms back, and spring off the right foot and come to the top of the mat one more time. And just shake the arms a little bit. And then arms overhead, bend the knees a little bit, and swan dive forward. Step the right foot back again and bring the blanket under the right knee. Again, the knee and the foot are on separate tracks. And we're making that square with our legs. And then reach the right arm high in the air. The left hand can come to the left hip. And twist towards the left, crossing the right arm over the left knee. And then bringing the palms together. Twist. So toes can be tucked, curled under, or extended. I like to put the tops of my toes on the mat. And then turn your gaze up over the left shoulder. And breathe. Keep extending through the crown of the head as you twist a little more. Extend on the inhale, twist on the exhale. Eventually the palms might come to the center of the chest. And feel free to modify these poses in any way. We're just moving in this direction. And release the hands to the floor around the left foot. Tuck the right toes and step the foot back to down dog. Really find the stability in your down dog. Pressing the palms, maybe stretching the fingers wide and lifting them off the mat so that your palms are really engaged with the floor. And then relax the fingers. And then try the same thing with your toes. See if you can lift and spread your toes and then place them down again on the mat. Come out into plank pose. You might have to adjust the distance a little. We're not sagging down in the hips here or keeping them too high. Just find your plank pose with the shoulders directly over the wrists. And then back to down dog. And inhale back to plank. Exhale back to dog. Inhale into plank and hold here. And then you can lower the right knee to the mat and tip onto your right side, or you can keep your right leg extended and side plank on the right arm. I have my feet staggered. Someday, maybe I'll be able to stack my feet, but this is good. Wherever you are is perfect. And bring the left arm back down into plank. And then tip over onto the left side or lower the left knee. And extend the right arm up. Keep the hips pressing forward. And breathe. And bring the right arm back down again. And lower the knees. And let's take some yoga push-ups here. So you can turn the fingertips towards the opposite front corners of the mat so that the elbows will come out to the side. And we're taking really a knee plank here. So stretch, reach out of the hips, reach out of the shoulders, and then bending the elbows. Come down only as far as is comfortable for you today. Maybe you have to adjust the width of your hands a little bit or the rotation to find what's comfortable. And I like to exhale as I lower, inhale as I press up, and see if you can do 5 or 7 of these. And when you've finished coming almost to your limit with the knees together, lower the hips out, back, and come into child's pose. Allowing the arms to completely relax. Maybe even bringing the hands, palms up next to the ankles, next to the feet. And rest the arms. And then stretching it back out again. Lower all the way down to the mat. And we'll come into Sphinx pose here. Reaching up through the crown of the head, roll the shoulders back and down, elbows directly under the shoulders. And bring the legs together, press them together. And reaching up, lifting the gaze, really pressing the chest through the arms. And then bringing the chin to the chest, but keeping the chest where it is. And lifting the head, turning gaze over to the right, shoulder towards the feet, all the way and back to center, and turn to gaze over the left shoulder, taking the eyes with you, looking at the feet. Keep the shoulders back and down and squared to the front of the mat. And then maybe bring the fingers tips out to the corners of the mat. You can lift the elbows up. Draw the lower belly in, even as you keep the legs strong and the pelvis is still on the floor. This is seal pose. It's similar to cobra. And then we lower back down again and stack the hands and place the forehead on the backs of the hands and shift the hips from side to side. And coming back to all fours, hands next to the chest. Take a couple of cat-cows here. Inhale into cow and exhale into cat. Inhale cow and exhale cat. And then tuck the toes, come back to down dog. Step the right foot or the left foot closer to the right and lift the right leg high in the air and draw the knee to chest, step it through. Turn the left toes out so now the heels are aligned on a single railroad track. Right hand to right knee and windmill, the left arm up and overhead and coming into warrior two. It's snowing again. Stretch the arms back towards the back and forward toward the front, but try to keep the spine vertical. And then maybe you have to inch your right toes forward, even as you're pressing down through the outer edge of the left foot. And then gaze over the right hand, over the right arm, and breathe. And then bringing the right elbow to the right knee and swing the left arm down and around and up overhead and keep the hips down so that you're making one long line from your heel to your fingertips and reach, stretching through the left side of the body. Side angle pose. And then we'll stretch the right leg long and bring the left arm out. Quarter turn to the long side of the mat and take the hands to the hips and lift the gaze, lift the heart, press the hips forward, back bend. You can bend the knees a little bit, even as they track straight forward, but keep pressing the hips forward. And then hinging at the hips, bring the chest forward, keeping the gaze out in front of you, and slide the hands down the sides of your legs. And we'll come into a wide leg forward bend here. So only come as far as you can with a long spine. So what we don't want to do is just drop into it and round the spine. We want to extend through the crown of the head and lift the hips, really opening the pelvis wide, and release the neck and the head, but not the roundness of the spine. Don't come into a round spine. Breathing here. And then we'll bring the palms under the feet and toe heel the feet in to about 2.5 feet apart. The heels are in. I mean, this depends on the length of your legs. The toes are pointed out at about a 45-degree angle. You can lift and spread the toes first, bend the knees deeply, and then horseshoe the hands over the knees and press up and draw the lower belly in. We're coming into goddess pose. Knees are tracking straight over the feet and shift from side to side. Dance the goddess. And then settle back into your goddess. You can always adjust your stance a little bit so that you can really try to get the torso vertical and cactusing the arms. Spread the fingers wide again. Open the palms, open the hands way up, really stretching through the fingers. And relax the fingers. And then just come to a more relaxed goddess pose. And straightening the legs again. And we'll turn toward the back of the mat with the left toes pointed forward. Maybe walk the right heel back. We're coming into our warrior two again. So bend the left knee and take the arms front and back. Maybe pretend someone's pulling you by the right arm back a little bit. And then draw the belly in. Bend the left knee a little bit more. Strengthen the right leg. Really straighten that knee and press the outside edge of the right foot into the floor. Reaching and breathing here. Breathe deeply and completely. And then bringing the left elbow to the left knee. Reach the right arm up overhead and turn the gaze. Really find your feet again, drawing the left hip under, strengthening the right leg, and gazing up. Draw the left shoulder away from the ear, back and down, and stretch through the right side of the body, reaching. And windmill that arm back and over, quarter turn again to the side of the mat, and make the outside edges of the feet parallel with each other. And this time we'll interlace our fingers behind the back for another forward bend. You can soften the knees a little bit, and the palms can be together or apart, and then pull the arms away from the back and straighten the arms. And then hinge forward from the hips and bring the arms overhead. And bending the knees again, rising up. And we'll come straight into our pigeon pose. I want to make sure we get pigeon in. So quarter turn back to the front of the mat and place the hands on the floor, framing the right foot, and walk the right foot over to the left side of the mat and lower the knee to the right side of the mat. And then lower the left knee. And this is where I find a block to be pretty essential. Place it under my right thigh or hip, wherever is comfortable for you. You can also use a blanket if you don't need quite as much height. And then lift the heart, open the chest, lift the gaze, puff the chest forward, even as you're keeping the hips squaring down so we're not rolling over onto the right hip. Feeling this opening in the front of the left hip. And then walk the hands forward, and you can take your other block and put it under your elbows. And this can be your forward fold. So we're really hinging at the hips, keeping a long spine here, shoulders back and down. Or you can bring your elbows to the floor, or maybe stack the palms and place the forehead on the back of the hands. And then release the effort in the right leg, relax the muscles, and allow the hip to open. So this feels more opening in the right hip. When we're up in proud pigeon, you feel the more opening in the front of the left hip. This is the back of the right hip opening. And coming back up onto the hands, we'll come right to the other side. So stretch the leg back and just for a moment come into plank pose and stretch the legs back. Come back into down dog and lift the left leg up in the air and draw the knee forward. Take the left foot to the right side of the mat and the knee to the left side of the mat. And then tuck the right toes and draw them back a little bit. And take your block or your blanket under the left thigh, unless you don't need it at all. Maybe come up onto the fingertips, squaring the hips down, lift the heart, lift the gaze, press the chest forward, breathing here. Keep the shoulders away from the ears. And then coming down onto the forearms or the block, or stack the hands the opposite way you normally do and place the forehead on the backs of the hands. And then see if you can let go any effort in the muscles of the left leg so that the hip is really stretching. And you can always adjust the position of the block if you're feeling too much stretch. And then rising back up again, walk the hands in and take the left leg back to meet the right on all fours. And take your blanket in front of the knees and then bring the knees onto the blanket and we'll come into camel pose here. So rising up, really reach through the crown of the head and take the hands to the hips. So you can either have your hands with the fingers pointing down like they're in your jeans pockets, or you can have the fingers wrapped around the hips with the thumbs at the base of the spine. I like to do this because I can kind of sort of massage that lower back area with my thumbs before I do this. And you can even have your fingertips pointing straight up and pressing the hips forward that way. So find the hand position that works for you and then really pressing your hips forward. Track your chin up toward the ceiling and lift the heart and breathe in and out through the nose, really engaging the leg muscles here. Toes are tucked. Press the hips forward. Keep lifting the heart. And using the core, draw yourself back up and bring the hands to the floor. Tuck the toes and walk the hands back to the feet. Horseshoe the hands over your knees and rise up. And if you'd like to come off the mat for one standing balance pose, you can have your left hand on the wall or a back of a chair. Draw the right knee to chest with your right hand. Maybe you can use both hands once you find the position. Squeeze it in. And then bring your foot to the inside of your left leg, the right foot to the inside of the left leg. It can be a kickstand on the floor, it can be right on the calf, or you can have it just slightly front of there's a tendon inside the left leg that I'm slightly in front of. And then draw the left hip in, strengthen the left leg. Even as there's a slight bend in the left leg, you can press down with the right hand on the right knee and then grow your branches and lift your heart, lift your gaze up, maybe toward the ceiling, and breathe. Keep the shoulders back and down. I think the cold makes us want to hunch our shoulders. I used to get a lot of shoulder pain before I was doing regular yoga practice. Very conscious of keeping my shoulders back and down. And then lowering, bringing the right knee forward and just extend it for a couple of breaths. And lower the right foot to the floor. Shake it out a little bit, maybe turn to the other side with the right hand high on the wall or on the back of a chair. I like to use the wall because then I'm really extended. So if you can find a space on the wall, that's kind of ideal. And then draw the left knee to chest. Maybe you can use both hands and squeezing the knee in. And then whatever tree pose you took on the first side, place your left foot inside the right leg and drawing the right hip in. Maybe press down with the left hand on the left knee a little bit, gazing at an unmoving point. Always remember a drishti. Find an unmoving place to gaze at. You can also focus your attention on in your heart center, perhaps. That can be a drishti. Grow your branches. Keep strengthening the right leg. And then, and turn the left knee forward and extend the left leg for a few breaths. And lower the left leg to the floor and shake it out a little bit. Now we're coming directly into our closing sequence. We won't have time for a long Shavasana today. So At any point during these closing poses that you'd like to, you can come into Shavasana. Arms overhead, swan dive forward, bringing the hands to the mat, bend the knees deeply, and sit back. And we'll just roll directly down to the mat and coming into shoulder stand, draw the knees to the chest and lift the hips and scoop the hips up with the hands. I like to move slowly so we're not using momentum. We're using our strength, our core strength, arm strength, and then really firm the legs all the way through the gluteal muscles, and then relax the leg muscles and allow the weight to be carried by the hands, the arms, and closing the eyes. Begin to observe your breathing, pranayama. And then spread the legs as wide and just keeping the legs relaxed. Let them open here. And feel that opening in the groin area. Bring the legs back together and allow them to float overhead and slide the arms along the legs to the ankles. And take longevity pose just for a moment, resting on the back of the head and the shoulders. Legs stretched long, stretching the lower back out here. And then bringing the arms next to the body and rolling the spine down, palms face down under the hips. And inhale, lower the legs a third of the way. Exhale, pause. Inhale, another third of the way. Exhale, pause. And then inhale all the way to the floor. Who knows if that was really one third, one third, one third. And then you might have to shift the hips from side to side to get the elbows more under the back. And we'll lift the heart way up, lift the chest way up, and then allow the head to come back and cradle in the shoulders. With strong legs, place the top of the head very gently on the mat. Really, that just the tip of the head is touching the mat. No weight. The weight is carried again in the arms. And breathing here. Fish pose. Now lift the chin to the chest and roll back down. Draw the feet in and lift the hips up and release the hands. And we'll come into that reclined cobbler's pose one more time. So the bottom of the feet are together, feet are close to the hips, and really allow the legs to open. And if they don't open all the way, that's fine. Just try to relax here. Now, engage the legs and draw them up just 1 or 2 inches, really engaging, squeezing all the muscles, using the muscles of the legs all the way up through the gluteal muscles, and then release again. And close the eyes and relax. And then drawing the knees back up again. You might want to use your blanket on your right side for under your shins in a side lying twist. Take the arms out in a T. We almost always close the class this way. Draw the knees to chest and lower them over to the right. Shift the right shoulder out from under and turn to gaze over your left arm. Really stretch the left arm out long so that your shoulder is still on the floor. Breathing deeply into the whole body, all the way through the legs. Relax the face. Relax the eyes. And before we lose our enthusiasm, bring the blanket to the other side. Shift the hips to the right and lower the knees to the left. Walk the left shoulder out and stretch that right arm way out and gaze over the right arm. Breathe. Breathe deeply all the way down through the legs into the toes. See if you can relax the eyes. And bringing the knees back up to center. Shift the hips back to the center. Oh, we're way over time. I apologize. Stretch your legs long. Come into Shavasana. I'm going to close with our closing mantra that all beings be healthy, happy, and free. Arms overhead, palms touch, heart center. You can stay in Shavasana if you have the time. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Namaste.